Okay, so we are now recording. I want to make sure that everybody who is not able to make it today is able to view this. So just a reminder, if you do have to leave, early or whatever, you will get this on our YouTube channel, which we will be sending out after it is posted. So we're just going to do kind of a summary of the grant itself and then kind of walk through a couple of things that I feel like you need to know. I do just want to note real fast, it is just me today. The chat is on, but I may not have the ability as I'm going through this to kind of monitor the chat. I don't have anybody else helping me with that today. So please just unmute and ask a question. If you're not uncomfortable with that at all, you can put something in the chat, but just have some patience in terms of me getting to your question if it is in there. So, all right, let's get started. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Rachel MacArthur. I am currently the person that is the contact for this this grant and will kind of be through until awards go out this year, which hopefully, fingers crossed, everything goes well, will be by the end of this year. So again, like I said, we're just going to do an overview of the JMOUD grant. I am going to show a quick slide of the formula funding table that was approved by the commission a couple weeks ago. That is also available on our website if you haven't seen it yet, and there will be a slide kind of showing you how to get to our website and accessing those materials. A quick run through of the application timeline. We do recognize this is kind of a shorter timeline than normal grants that you deal with at CJC. Most of the time, these our grants are two parts. You have a preliminary and a final. But given the nature of how this funding went out the first time, and that we're kind of up against the end of this year with funding ending at the end of this month, it is just a one process. So you are going to be turning in an application and a budget projection sheet at the same time. So it is a little bit more condensed. Going to go through an application walkthrough in SM Apply. So there's going to be a lot of screenshots. And again, like I said, we are going to be kind of going through this fairly quickly because we only do have an hour. But again, you will have access to this after it's sent out via YouTube, so you can come back and review it. And also feel free to ask any sort of questions as we go through it. And then at the end, hopefully we'll have time for just some overall broad questions about this webinar itself or the grant and what funding looks like and things like that. So, and again, please ask any questions that you have throughout. Feel free to interrupt me. And hopefully all of your questions, hopefully, will be answered today. So just an overall kind of current status of the grant program. HB 4002 in 2024 established this grant program. Currently, there's a little over $10 million in available funds for this next grant cycle. It's a little bit higher than last time. And the eligible recipients include cities and counties that operate a local correctional facility and federally recognized tribes in Oregon that operate a tribal correctional facility. Applicants are able to come in as a group, a joint application, or individual applicants. We did have both last time. So if you do have questions on how that works or what that looks like, feel free to reach out to me. I do want to make one note. This is the reason why we kind of had to delay the release of the solicitation. Is there was a change in language through Senate Bill 236 for eligibility. And so we had to adjust the rules that are pertinent to this particular program to reflect that. And so I just wanted to, this is in the solicitation. I just kind of wanted to present this slide. The bolded language is that new language that came from Senate Bill 236. And so it did open up eligibility, possibilities of eligibility criteria for certain correctional facilities. And so I just wanted to note this. This is different. It is reflected. This particular language is reflected on the solicitation. And it is currently reflected on our rules page as well. We did file temporary rules for this. And so the commission, like I said, approved formula funding and these temporary rules about 2 weeks ago, which is why we were able to release the solicitation at the end of August. So just wanted to note this change in language. If you do have any specific questions about this, feel free to reach out to me and we can walk through it. So just a reminder, these priorities are in this bill are pretty specific. And these priorities are listed in the solicitation specifically to what funds can be used for. I'm not going to read through them today, but I do want to encourage all of you to refer to the solicitation specifically, or this slide if you want, in terms of what funds can be used for within this grant. So please make sure that you do review this as you are filling out your budget projection sheet. So this is the formula funding table that was approved by the commission. I do want to note again, there are two new facilities that were recognized as being eligible due to the change in the language, the eligibility language. Clackamas, you see the Clackamas TC and the Washington TC, those were added. Also, I have gotten questions. We did use the language transitional center for both of them. We recognize, I think Clackamas has a residential center. They are named differently. For us, and to kind of avoid confusion in front of the commission, we use the uniform language for those. When you are naming your application, you name it as it is and as you all recognize it. But that's kind of, I just wanted to mention that caveat with this. Again, there was a 10% set aside from the statute that we were required for rural counties. The definition of rural is in our rules. That did not change. The number of counties who qualified as rural also did not change. There was a slight bump in the amount of funds that they got. But this formula funding table is available on our website underneath the JMOUD grant. And so you can look at it a little bit more in detail with that document. So just wanted to let you all have the opportunity to see this and see that there are a few more facilities that are eligible this time. So the timeline, we released the solicitation last week. And they are due October 9th of this year. Like I mentioned, there is only one phase to this application. So you will be doing application questions and a budget projection sheet. We tried to make the lift because we do recognize this is a pretty quick turnaround for both. We tried to make it the application questions very similar, if not very identical to last time. And so if you did apply last time, we are just really looking for any sort of updates or improvements to those programs as you're answering those questions. We would like the grant advisory committee, hopefully at the end of the month of October, to be making those funding recommendations to the commission with the final decisions, the award decisions being made at the November, and I have the wrong date. That's supposed to say November 2025. So I apologize. I'll correct that before I send it out. But this November, we would like the commission to make those final award decisions so that we can move on with the contracting phase and get money out to you all as soon as possible. One thing I do want to note, because we do have a grant cycle that is ending September 30th, the current one, this one will open in theory October 1st. And so that is the project period. It's October 1st to, excuse me, August 31st, 2027. And so you will be able to bill back to October 1st. And so even if you don't get funds out by the end of the year, if you get them out in January with your first payment, you will be able to go back to October 1st, very similar to last time as well. So we kind of built it, hopefully, that there isn't a huge gap in funding for you all in terms of when you use up these funds and when you receive funds for the next cycle. Okay, so an application walkthrough. So this is kind of the meat of this webinar. I am, like I said, going to be walking through quite a bit of screenshots, but I do just want to give you the opportunity, if you haven't spent a lot of time in SM Apply, to see what it looks like. We do require all applications to be submitted through SM Apply. That does include the budget projection sheet. It does include all of the letters of support that are required. And then we do have the optional memorandum of understanding and MOU upload should you want to share it. The narrative questions are in there. We do have space for a cover sheet as well. When you fill these out, be as thorough as possible for all of them. It actually won't let you move on to the next phase until you fill out what is required. And so I'll walk you through what it looks like from beginning to end. But again, if you have any issues logging on or seeing what you see in these screenshots, feel free to reach out and we can kind of walk you through that process. And again, just a reminder, I'll remind you again at the end, applications are due on October 9th of this year. Okay, so when you, there in the email that I sent out when I released the solicitation, there was a link to SM Apply. When you click on it, you should come to a page that looks like this, where there are available and open grant application opportunities for you. You will either have to log in or register. If you have an existing account with us, you'll be able to log in. If you don't, you will have the opportunity to register. And then you'll just hit apply on this particular grant that is available. And when you apply, when you hit that, you will be asked to name your application. So when you are asked, please be as thorough as possible in terms of letting us know what facility and what county that you're applying for, and so that we know kind of where these applications are in terms of eligible facilities. So when you name it in a way where we can recognize those kinds of things, so that we make sure that we are, when we look at the formula funding table, that we are applying it correctly to the application. So you'll then go to, you'll see this page when you click on it after you log in. This will kind of be that starting page. And I do want to just make a note. If you look on this particular example, I am the owner of this. You do have the ability to add any sort of collaborator. So if there's going to be multiple people that are filling out this application, you can add a collaborator within your organization. If you decide that you are doing a joint application, you can also add them as a collaborator. You just click on that as the owner. And you'll see this, you'll have the opportunity to invite them to be a collaborator. I do want to note that if you are the owner, you are the only one that can hit submit. And so if you do have a collaborator that is doing the majority of the application and filling it out, that's fine. Just make sure that they understand that if they mark complete on a section, that is not the same thing as hitting submit. So only the owner can submit an application. But you can have as many collaborators as you'd like. And also, if by chance, halfway through the application, you do want to switch owners because it makes more sense for this person, you can just reach out to me and I can do that administratively. That's pretty easy. Okay, so you will see on this page that you do have tasks. And on this one in particular, there are 3 tasks. So there's a cover sheet, there's the application questions, and then there's the document uploads. And so those are the 3 things that you need to be able to, that you have to complete before your application is complete and before you are able to submit your application. So you'll see, I do have the arrow there. You'll see your tasks. You'll also notice that before you start, there's these little circles next to cover sheet, application, and document uploads. Those are blank right now. As you move through, we'll kind of see how they'll indicate whether or not you're finished with that particular section. So if you click on cover sheet, you'll see the arrow, that particular part is green. You'll see that little green part, so that will let you know that you're on the cover sheet. Each task will open up a new page, okay? And then, so you'll be asked to complete each required section, fill in this information. You can go through. As you move down to the end and you are filling out this information, this screenshot is the bottom part of that cover sheet. You'll see two buttons, save and continue editing or mark as complete. You can save your work and come back to that particular page if you'd like to, or when you're done filling out the that particular section, you have all the correct information, you can mark as complete and move on to the next task. If you do hit save and continue editing, you'll see over here that there's kind of that half full circle, and that indicates that you started it, you didn't finish it, you didn't mark it as complete. It is that particular stage is still unlocked. And it allows you to return to that particular stage and make any sort of changes. I will get into, once you hit mark as complete, how you could potentially go back if you do make a mistake. But if you are not finished with it and you just want to come back to it, just hit save and continue editing. It will have that half circle to let you know that you haven't completed it yet. And then you can come back when you're able to continue to fill out the correct information. So when you do mark it as complete, you'll see a couple of things. You'll see that the circle is completely green. It's got a check mark. And that particular submission is now locked. Okay, so the information in there is locked. You have marked it complete. If by chance you realize that you made a mistake and you need to update information, there are those three buttons that arrow over here to the right of my screen, hopefully the right of your screen, shows those three dots. You can click on those three buttons at the top of the title and it will, a menu will appear. You can see it on this screenshot to download, to reset, or to edit. Resetting it, if you click on reset, it will reset the entire stage. Which will mean it will delete all the previous information. So if you need to start completely over, you can delete the information and you can start over again. Edit, if you hit edit, will reopen that particular stage and it will allow you to make any sort of changes without losing all of your information. So you do have those two options. Should you have marked complete, you have that full check mark. And you realize that you do need to make changes. So you can completely delete everything, or you can go back in and edit specific sections if you need to. And then obviously you will have the opportunity, if you want to download that particular section so that you can save it outside of SM Apply. And then lastly, when you are done with this particular page, if you hit the back to application, it will return you back to that main page where you can see the rest of your tasks that are available. So we'll take you to this. As you can see, it says 1 of 3 tasks complete at the top with that blue indicator going across that you have completed one of them. You also have that complete green circle with the check mark. So at this point, you'll click on the next one, the application questions. That's your next task. Application questions, recommended that you read through those comments at the top. So just please read the directions, kind of get an idea of what's expected, and then go through. You can see there is a text box for each application question. There are word limits, and so we ask you to be succinct, have a lot of clarity in your questions. What we don't want to have to do is to make inferences about what we think you're saying. And so be as clear and succinct as possible within those word limits to answer these questions. Specifically, these questions will focus on how you will identify you'll address those identified priorities. And you will also, which we'll see in a second, you will have the opportunity on your budget projection sheet to also provide a narrative. And so if it's something that you feel like you also need to address as it relates to funding, you will have a space for that as well on the budget projection sheet. So please be succinct, be clear, try to avoid, as you go through this, myself, staff, and then also the grant advisory committee from making inferences. Just be as clear as possible. If you have any questions about what that looks like, you can always reach out to me for feedback for any of this. In terms of these particular questions, I can give you feedback on the completeness of the answer, things like that. I can't tell you this is a great question or this is a bad question or this is for sure going to get approved. I can't do any of that stuff, but I can give some technical assistance on a strategy on answering these particular questions and what the advisory committee may be looking for. Okay, so this is just kind of that other example of what these text boxes look like as you go down through these questions. And then you'll go back, you'll hit mark as complete at the bottom, or you can save and edit. You'll then get back to this application main page, and you'll see that you are on document uploads. There are a few required document uploads. These are outlined in the solicitation to get a good idea of what's required. And so you will have space to upload these. There are 2 letters, and then the very bottom one, which I think it cut off, is the budget projection sheet. There will be directions there as well. These are required. You will have a section at the bottom, like I said, of an MOU. Should you want to upload it, it's an option. You don't have to. If it's not something that you want to provide to us, that's okay. We just kind of leave that option open. I do want to note the budget projection sheet is on our website, as well as the solicitation and the formula funding table. So that is how you will access that particular sheet. If you go to our website and you hit grants up here at the very top, it will have a drop down and you'll see JMOUD. Click on that, it will take you to this page so that you can access all of this. The solicitation also has the application questions available. And so if it's something that you want to answer outside of SM Apply First and then transfer your questions, you can access those questions there. Again, the funding table is there as well. And the information about availability of funding, the project period, the priorities are also all in that solicitation. A solicitation also includes a grant agreement sample. It's kind of a draft of what the grant agreement would look like. As of right now, we don't anticipate any changes being made to that, but please just keep in mind that it is a draft. And so we just kind of want to give you an idea of what it will look like when the contracting phase does occur. So if you can't find this page and you have a hard time, please reach out to me. I can direct you to it. I also linked you to this in the solicitation release email that I sent out as well. So you should have access to it. If you don't, please let me know. I do just quickly want to cover this budget projection sheet. It is, some of you may be familiar with this from other grants that you have gone through with us, other grant processes. This is, we did make a few changes to it this grant cycle, so please just go through, answer the questions, all of the drop downs, all of the requirements. If you'll see in this screenshot at the very end, it kind of cut me off a little bit. There is a section for a narrative piece to explain why you are requesting that specific item that you are requesting. Please be thorough in that explanation. Again, we don't want to have to infer anything about what you need or your particular program. And so make sure that you're being very clear in terms of why you are requesting that. Make sure that you are tying them back to the priorities that were outlined in that slide that I shared earlier, along with the priorities that are listed in the solicitation. Also, the grant administration guide, which was also linked in that solicitation email, is also available. If you go to this page, it is down as a resource. please click on that. There is a list of unallowable expenses that CJC just simply cannot fund. Please, as you're going through and making budget requests, please go through that list and make sure that an unallowable is not on there or not included. That is something that staff, when we look at these applications for eligibility requirements being met, we also look at unallowables and remove those from any sort of request. So make sure you go through that list. If you have any questions on this sheet, it can be a little overwhelming at times because it is quite big. Please reach out. Again, I can't tell you in terms of your narrative that yes, this is absolutely going to get you funding, but I can make suggestions on how to make it more clear, be a little bit more succinct, things like that, completeness of it. So I'm happy to review that ahead of time and before submission. So don't hesitate to reach out, especially if this is the first time that you've done something like this for CJC, because it can be a bit, it can be a lot to kind of navigate through. I do want to note this. We do have a section in the grant administration guide on supplanting. This is the definition that we use for supplanting. We want to make sure that requests, particularly with personnel, are not being supplanted. And so please keep in mind, please refer to this definition when it is, again, in the grant administration guide. At the end, I believe it's section 6 or 7. At the end, it does have a section on supplanting. Please refer to that when you are making any sort of personnel decisions in particular, or any sort of direct service contractual asks. Make sure that this is in the back of your mind in terms of what kind of requests you're able to make. So when you are through on SM Apply and you've uploaded your documents, and again, it won't let you mark as complete on that document page until you've uploaded them, and it will tell you what kind of document you can upload. So it can be a PDF or a Word document, and I believe the budget projection sheet is just that sheet. It's just an Excel sheet. And so when you mark complete, you will see all 3 of your tasks are fully green with the check mark. And at this point, you can click submit. Again, just a reminder, only the owner of the application can hit submit. Okay. And so collaborators can work on it as much as possible, as much as, as often as you all need to. Just a reminder that it's just the owner that can hit submit. Okay. We have in the past had people go through and see, they see all of their tasks are complete and they end it there. You do have to click submit. So please make sure you do that before it is due. You will receive an email from the CJC. It just says Criminal Justice Commission that you did submit your application. There is a confirmation email that you will get. So be sure to check that to make sure that the submission went through and that button was actually pushed. So just a reminder, just because your tasks are complete and it indicates that, you still have to hit submit. You do have the ability to, before you do that, to review your application just to make sure everything is good. And again, just a reminder, if you do have to make changes after these tasks are complete, you do have the ability to edit before you hit submit. Okay. So please hit that button. Okay, so things to remember. Read through all of the application questions, review the list of required documents listed in the grant solicitation, read through the solicitation in terms of available funding, the formula, all of those documents that are available to you, review the grant administration guide. All of those are helpful in the process of completing this application. If you have issues with SM Apply, please reach out to me. We can get you in and get you going. We do have a training that's available on our YouTube channel, and it's Writing Effective Grant Proposals. You should have access to the YouTube channel. I believe I've included a link on the solicitation email to our YouTube channel. This particular presentation will also be uploaded to our YouTube channel. I will send this slide deck out to you all along with that link. Once we're able to post it, it takes a couple of days. So it'll probably be maybe Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. You'll receive an email from me with this slide deck along with that that link. It will be on our YouTube channel if it's something that you feel like would be helpful to look at if you've not gone through this process before. Another thing to note, your budget projection sheet must be submitted using the original formatting and formulas that we included, that we create. Please do not change them. Please do not alter them. They will not be accepted if they are. We will not accept any sort of alteration of our formulas and our formatting of the budget projection sheet. It's very important that we get it back as we sent it out, as the way that we collect data and information comes from those particular formattings for our documents. So please do not change that. We will not accept it, and your application will not be considered complete. So, and again, like I said, applications are due October 9th. If you do have issues submitting, or if you have any questions about whether or not it went through or was uploaded, please reach out to me. My phone number is my phone is something that I sometimes have difficulty answering, just given my schedule with meetings and things like that. So if you do need to talk to me on the phone, send me an email and just say, hey, can we jump on a quick call? And I can typically set up a time to make that call happen. If you do send me an email, you'll get a response a lot faster. Also, I'm available on Teams as well. We can do a quick Teams chat if you want to share documents and things like that beforehand. So email is probably the best. It's probably the fastest way to get an answer. But if you do prefer a phone call, that's okay. You just might need to give me a second to find some time to schedule one. So, okay. So that was a lot of information. And I know kind of walking through SM Apply, especially if you're not familiar with it, can be a little overwhelming. But I do just want to ask quickly if there's any questions about process, about anything that we went over, about the grant itself. Any questions? Okay, everybody knows everything.
Oh,
Corey,
question.
Go ahead.
Sorry. So we switched jail medical providers in the midst of our last grant. So 200 words sounds like a lot, but sometimes if we're trying to update something and it doesn't fit, do you guys allow maybe a separate letter that maybe has just a little more explanation, as long as it's not, super wordy? We try to make it as succinct as possible.
Yeah, so in the application, there's word limits. In the budget projection sheet narrative, there's not. And so if there is a space, if there is a space in the application for you to explain that, absolutely do. But when you do put it in the budget projection sheet, you can also include whatever relevant information in that section as well. The reason why we do word limits on applications is because it's a lot to go through those, and we want to make sure we get kind of the relevant information, but we do provide that space in the budget projection sheet to kind of provide some more information. So.
And I saw in the budget form you have for admin costs, which is a lot of times what we use for my role. That's still on there, I see. Is that correct?
Yeah, the 10% admin, yeah. That's
so with that, our county M&F office was kind of questioning that for this last grant, wanting to know if there needed to be specific submission for time spent towards it, or is it just a blanket fee amount? I know with other grants with CJC, it's just kind of a blanket fee amount because we list what that position does on the sheet. Is this one different?
Our expectation for the admin is the same across grants. And so the way that we have an expectation we haven't changed anything in terms of what information we need. If by chance we go through and something doesn't make sense, or it's over or something like that, we'll reach out to you just for clarification. So, I think that answered your question. I'm not sure if when you get to it, if it's confusing or if it looks different, just reach out to me. But I don't think it will be any different from other grants. So
Ellen and I were clear on it. It's just the folks here at the county were
yeah,
questioning some things. So I just wanted to double check with you since we were here live.
yeah. If something doesn't make sense, or if on our end when we get it, it doesn't make sense, we'll reach out to you for clarification. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Hey,
Yep.
Rachel, Josh
Hello.
on the Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Hey, thank you for this. I am
Yeah.
curious, given I don't see a lot of other jail commanders on the call, do you want to try to get in front of them, like at our next virtual meeting or anything, or do you just want us to try to get them to refer them back to the link?
Yes, I can. If I'm available, I absolutely don't mind getting in front and presenting whatever information need to be presented. I believe every jail commander was included on the solicitation release email. So they should have gotten that email that it's out there. We also sent it out to our interested parties list. And so they should be aware of the grant being released in the solicitation. If it's something, before October 9th, where it would be helpful or beneficial for me to present, I absolutely can. I don't think I'll present this particular thing of walking them through SM Apply. I can, if you think this is relevant, but I can also just do kind of an overview on the grant cycle and the grant process as well. So just let me know. And if I'm available, I'm happy to do that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think they need to see all this.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
I think if my calendar's right, we may be getting together next Wednesday morning on the 10th.
Okay.
Jacob, right to you. Jacob,
Yeah, let me check my calendar. I know I have a few presentations next week. Let me check my calendar and I'll email you after this and let you know if I'm available, and I'm happy to present something for sure.
I'll send you the exact time right now. And the only reason I even bring it up is because I think I emailed you yesterday. Like mine went to spam, and so if it weren't for somebody else forwarding it to me, I'd still be going, when's CJC going to send me some stuff? So I just want to make sure nobody misses that.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. So yeah, send me the time and I'm happy to present something, just an overview of the grant process and stuff like that. So for sure.
Okay, I'll send it to you right now. Thank you so much.
Okay, cool. Any other questions regarding this process? Okay, cool. I will upload this onto YouTube. You all will be receiving an email. Pretty much we'll share it with the group that I sent out for the solicitation release as well. And so everybody should get it. If you think there's somebody in your group that didn't get it that should, just forward it to them. And please do not hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions about anything in this process. So cool. Have a good weekend, y'all.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We'll see you. Absolutely.